Thank you, Mom.
No problem.
All right. So, thank you for joining me again. Let's hope this works better this time than first time.
Oh, for sure. How have you been, man?
Been good. It's been lots of snow here in Ontario. I've been out shoveling and outside in the snow for the morning. I came in for the afternoon. I just helped my dad put a box on our six-wheeler. So, yeah, I'm
Nice, nice.
keeping busy. So, I got more questions too.
For sure. No, it's nice and sunny over here.
Yeah. All right. So, obviously, thank you in advance for helping me with my first YouTube channel video. Hopefully, it's successful for both of us. So, question one.
For sure. For sure.
Question one is: I read you completed your bucket list by the age of 22. Have you added anything to it since then?
Yeah, I've actually added a couple things to it. Completing it, kind of made me feel like I accomplished it, but I wanted to continue to do a little bit more. So I ended up I wanted to go ride a bull and I wanted to go hiking. So I wanted to find a cliff to actually climb up. I don't know if it'd be something like Everest or not, that's pretty crazy, but probably somewhere in Utah or something, go climb up some mountains and try to kind of travel around a little bit more.
Cool. So, question two. I read that you have played every sport. Beyond in Canada, have you played hockey?
I have not. I have not played hockey, and that's something that, man, I give props to anyone that does play hockey because, man, that's something. I went ice skating once, a couple of people, and I was just couldn't. I was trying, but my ankles were giving out, and I was flopping around. I'm like, man, I don't know how people up there in Canada get this done because, especially with like actually, competing with other people, that'd be so tough, man. But no, I definitely give props to hockey. I haven't did that. Always wanted to do it, but never got the chance to because I live over here in Missouri, so we don't have much ice, we don't have much rinks, and but no, you guys got that up there for sure.
Question number three. We met at a show in Toronto in 2019. Do you remember that weekend?
I do. That was a very special weekend to me. I didn't get to drive for a lot of months before that. It was going on. I was going on about 6 months without being in a truck. So I was really itching to get into my truck and get to go out there and actually tear it up for the fans. And but we just moved from to the brand new arena that you guys have. So that was the first show that we ever got to actually do in that arena. And so it was like a little bit of pressure on us as far as, all right, we need to get in there. We need to tear it up. We need to put on a great show for this event. We need to go out there and just give it all we got. And especially with me being out, I wanted to. So I finally got to go up there, got all my things in order, all the paperwork to actually go to Canada. That was the first time I was ever there. So it was a good new experience for me. And then with actually doing the event, it was a great event. It was, I think, my second overall win I've ever gotten. And so being out of the truck and getting to come up there and tear it up, man, it was amazing. And the crowd was amazing, absolutely so loud. And no, I'd love to do another event in Toronto for sure.
Well, I would like more events to come to Toronto when it's safe.
For sure. No, I would love to come back. I'd love to.
They're just as fun to attend as you guys probably enjoy performing them.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, that's why we're there as the fans. We're there to drive the truck, the best we can to put on the best event we possibly can for you fans. And so it's to hear that means a lot to us. That means that we're doing our job and all the hard work that we're putting in pays off and it's working out.
Question number 4. Where was your favorite place to perform? City, country? Where was your favorite place that you ever performed or have performed?
Man, I mean that's a pretty tough one. There's a couple of them that I actually really enjoyed performing at. I got the same East Coast tour I had as last year, so I did a little bit of the same shows, and then a couple different ones. But I definitely have like a top three, and Toronto is definitely on the top three. I mean, the crowd was just so loud, and they loved it. I loved performing there, and it was amazing. But getting to race in some of these different arenas, they just all bring a different aspect to it. So it's hard to just pick one that was just, so much better than others because they all have different parts. Some of the places we go out to eat at a special place, or the event, as far as the crowd itself is different, or the way that they cheer is different, or the people there. So everywhere is special in its own aspect. But man, I'd say my favorite one I've had so far would have been Kansas City, for the fact that my whole family got to come to it. So my grandparents got to see me drive, all my cousins, friends, aunts, my dad, all of them got to show up to this event. And so that was very special. But Toronto, it was so loud, man. I love that place. Um, yeah, I got a couple different ones.
Question number 5. For those who want to get into driving a monster truck or into the business at all, is there a way to do that? And if so, how does it work?
So the best way to do that and to get in and around Monster Jam is to work for Feld Entertainment. So you have to hit them up. They have an online thing where you can actually go there and get an application to do different jobs, whether it's driving or working for the AV, or doing the interviews, or whatever you'd like to do. Then they have a school for if you want to be a technician and work on the trucks and stuff like that. UNOH is where they're actually doing all the schooling for that. So they're hiring people in from that. But if you want to just get in and around it, that's the best way to get in to it, is just start working for them. And then you'll just kind of move around where you need to go and work your way up.
Did you look up, so question number 6, did you look up to any drivers growing up, or have any drivers influence you over the years?
I did. I had a couple that influenced me a lot, and that was like the main reason why I became a driver. And there's 2 of them, and of course, it's going to be the top 2 that you'd think it would be. It was Tom Mintz and Dennis Anderson. Both of them were very special to me growing up as a kid. I'd watch them on TV. I'd wake up on a Sunday morning and monster trucks be on TV, and I'd just be watching them go out there and just tear it up every time. But they're the reason that I wanted to become a driver, because when I'd see some of the drivers, I was like, yeah, that was an okay run. Yeah, that was an okay jump. But when they go out there, they would burn their truck down. Literally, it'd be on fire by the end of the run, tore up. And I was like, that's what I want to do. And when I become a driver, that's how I'm going to drive. And I'd watch these runs wanting to do it. And I was like, I want to compete against those kinds of people. And so I started following them. So I followed Gravedigger, followed Maximum Destruction. And they're my, huge inspiration to me as far as from a child till now to hopping in the truck driving.
I think my mother can also attest to someone in this household waking up early to watching Monster Jam before school as a young child.
Yeah, yes, you did.
Before school.
For sure. I mean, you got to, man. It makes the day great after watching Monster Jam all day. I mean, that's the best way to start the day.
So the last question I have for you is, if you could drive any truck from any decade, what would it be and why?
Man. So there's 2 top trucks. All right. So I was a huge fan of the Predator truck growing up. So I'd see that truck come out, and I loved the way it looked, and I loved everything about it. I thought that truck was just so sweet. And so I've always wanted to drive that truck. that was a really, really cool truck for me. And then they had a special anniversary all gold maximum destruction truck. That it was the first event I actually got to go to watch. It was the World Finals. They came out with this all gold truck, and I was sitting there. I was like, I didn't even realize that they had that. They had that and then an all black one. But I thought that all gold truck was just so cool. That's my favorite color is gold. So the whole truck was just decked out, and I wish that they'd have like a season long with that, because I mean that's just such a cool truck. I wish that I would have got to see it around a little bit more. But man, if I could drive either one of those trucks, that'd definitely make my day. Like, that'd be cool.
I just thought of one more. What do you think the biggest rivalry in monster trucks has been ever, like in terms of rivalries?
Man, there's a lot of rivalries in monster trucks. I'm not gonna lie. There's a lot of stuff that you'll see out on the floor and you'll see outside of the floor. It's when we go out there and race or we go out there and have a competition, it's actually real. I mean, we go out there and we want to win. We need to win. I mean, that's why we're there. The biggest rivalry, of course, is Max D and Gravedigger. They're back and forth all the time, button heads. I'd say that's probably definitely the biggest one out there is them. I mean, every time we go out there, it's at the end of the event, it's just them two battling it out, and so they'll go out there and tear it up. Where I'm out there, I was like, I don't care if they win or he wins or anything. I just want to win myself. So I'm out there. I got a rivalry against everybody. I'm like, all right, I want to come out here and tear this truck up. But no, that's definitely probably the biggest one.
All right. I would say that one. I'm going to go a little old school. I was thinking also Gravedigger and Bigfoot. That used to be big.
All right, I forgot about that one. I definitely forgot about that one. That one's still big. That one's huge. I mean, that's back and forth. I haven't got to see many shows with Bigfoot recently. I want to watch him, see how he's been. But no, that's definitely a big one, is Bigfoot.
Well, thank you again. I don't have any other questions, but if you want to ask me anything before you're welcome to ask me a question or before the.
You know what? All right. So if you could drive any truck out of any of the trucks out there, what truck would it be? And from what era, would it be from?
Ooh, there's so many. I would go with either the original Gravedigger, so the red primer.
Okay.
Or your zombie truck.
Ooh, man. I'll tell you what, I really appreciate that, man, with the zombie. Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool. Man, after hopping in the truck, that'd be cool for sure. I got to see the red primer. I just got back from North Carolina. I worked up there for a little while at the Digger Dungeon. I get to see that truck. It's beautiful, man. It's a really cool looking truck. So that's cool. They're going old school.
That place is on my bucket list.
Man, it's a place to go. They got all kinds of stuff there. I was driving the ride truck there for a minute when all this started happening down here in the States. And no, it's definitely cool. They got everything there, that you could check out. Then they got all their mega trucks up there right now. So that was cool for me to see. I haven't really been around mega trucks much. I've just been around the monsters. And so they'd be tearing stuff up from when they went out to an event and tore off wheels or whatever, and so that was cool to see those things. They're definitely a different animal compared to a monster truck. It's just a different kind of stylish setup, but it is cool, man. It's really cool. Definitely a good place to go. It's right next to the beach. That's something I didn't realize is it's like 30 minutes from the beach. So you can check that place out, go check out the beach, get you some ice cream or something, man. Come back. It's a good day.
Okay, Mom, we have to make note of that trip to North Carolina when this is all over with.
For sure. For sure.
Well, I don't think I can think of any other questions.
Okay.
Well, thank you again for taking the time. Let's hope this time works a little better than last one.
Yeah, no worries, man.
Really
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I appreciate this. It's lots of fun.
Good, good. Man, I appreciate you having me on. I appreciate being in this, video. I hope that it's the best. I hope you and your family are safe during these times, and hope to get up there to Toronto to see you again soon.
Thank you, and same to you.
All right, man. I'll see you.
So, hi, Steve.
Hello, Devin.
Thank you for taking the time today.
No problem.
I got a few questions for you. Number one, how long have you played for Buffalo?
I've been with the Buffalo Bandits for 14 years, but because of COVID, this is only my 13th season because we had one season canceled.
Have you ever been traded?
No, I was drafted to Buffalo in 2010, and I've been there ever since and never thought about being traded.
Would you rather an NLL title or an Olympic medal?
Well, I grew up watching the NLL, so that's always been like my dream. And I know with Olympians, they grow up watching the Olympics and hoping for that, right? So it's a little bit different. So for me, I'd love an NLL championship, and I've won Worlds now twice, and that's kind of like our Olympics. But now that we're actually in the Olympics, having an Olympic medal would be pretty cool.
How long have you been a captain of the Bandits?
I think 2018. I'm not totally sure, but I think it was 2018. Yeah. So 5 years, 4 seasons.
What does being the captain mean to you?
It's interesting because it was nice to be recognized for, leadership and skill. But at the same time, that comes with a lot of responsibility. And I think that's actually what I like about it the most, is having that extra responsibility and that extra pressure to perform and do really well.
What does recently signed Chase Fraser bring to the team?
Having Chase healthy and back with our team is really important because he's so athletic and creative, and he's just such a good locker room guy. So it's just fun to have my friend back as Chase Fraser, and just a fun person to watch.
And final question, what's it like to be coached by John Tavares, who is one of the biggest names in the NLL?
Yeah, JT having the scoring records and all sorts of just legendary performances in big games. What I've noticed about him most is how smart he is and how he sees the game on a different level, right? He's always thinking ahead, and when we do video together, it's like, look what they're doing. This is how we expose that. Like, this is how we win this game. Like, this is a flaw they have, and this is how we expose it. And he's just so smart, and he just loves the game so much. So you learn a lot being around Tavares.
Well, thank you for joining me.
Awesome. Thank you, Devin.
There we go. Yeah, I can hear you good with your microphone, man. We're on.
So, thanks again for coming on the channel.
How have you been?
Been good. Excited.
Good. I am too, man. It's been a long time since we've been able to have a good talk.
It's been 3 years. I watched the first interview to get ready for this one a little while ago.
That's awesome.
Alright, so I've got, I think, 4 or 5 questions for you.
All right.
So the first one, have you noticed a change in your driving since you drove Zombie to now driving Earthshaker?
I actually have, and it deals with a lot of different things. I think that comes in play with it. Is back when I was in Zombie, it was triple threat, And so, I was on the ATV and then hopping on the Razor, then into the Monster Jam truck. And it was just such an adrenaline-packed event that was like as a collective whole that when I'd hop in the zombie truck, I was so just amped that I was very, very, very aggressive driving. And I also had some really good competition that I was coming up against. All of them are, almost all the people that I was, racing against is all now world champions. And so, it wasn't an easy race by any means. And now, driving Earthshaker and Monster Mutt or Rockwell Red or whatever Monster Jam truck I'm in for the weekend, the events are a lot more toned down for me, as far as not so just go, hop out of one, hop in the next, and then run it just to the extreme dirt. And so I'm pushing the truck as far as its limitations can go, and just trying to make it through the whole event where I don't miss any elements. I won't miss donuts, because I went too big in a sky wheelie, or went too hard in donuts or something, flip over and break a bunch of stuff and can't make freestyle. And so that's where I'm at now, is I'm pushing the truck as hard as it can go, doing as best of a job as I can do without causing a bunch of damage where I miss a bunch of events, and so that's, it's turned into a very different kind of driving style that I'm learning, and it's definitely been a learning curve though.
Everybody you competed against is now a world championship. It's been that long, and they're that talented.
Yeah, they were. You got Armando. You got. I'm pretty sure Kristen got.
Kristen has a world record. She doesn't have a world championship yet.
That is true. She does have a world record. And then you got Tristan, and yeah, just like a lot of them, half the fleet that I was against.
And you guys are all veterans now. You're not rookies anymore.
I know, it's crazy. Everyone's been in the sport for so long now that it's crazy to think that we are veterans in the sport now. It's been that many years.
That was going to be the last question, but I'm going to bump it up to the next question since we went there. Who do you think is the best up-and-coming driver in the industry right now, male or female?
Man. That's a really, really tough question, because there's a lot of different drivers with a lot of different driving styles. And, for me, it would have to be, pretty one-sided, just because the people that I run with and the team I'm with at Team Pro Auto Monster, I'm with these guys every single week, and I can watch their progression, I can watch their growth, I can see how much they're pushing the trucks to different things. And so I couldn't really choose one specific driver. I would either say Devin Winfield, Berto Trevino, or Tim Hall Jr. Between those three that's on the team, I watch every single one of them, and they are progressing from the first time I saw them drive to now, just, insane amount. And so I have no idea exactly where they're going to be at, say, in a year, but I know, say, in 2 to 5 years, they're going to be one of the top dogs, in the industry.
Well, they have a good teacher.
That is true. Yeah.
No. Want my three?
Yeah.
All right. So one is John Zimmer Jr.
Okay.
This is in no order. There's also a theme. This is all drivers who I've seen.
Okay.
Live. 2 is Jamie Sullivan.
Okay.
And 3 is Weston Anderson.
Weston is an animal. I will say that. Weston is an animal, and I always forget that he's fresh in the sport. The way he drives.
Drive like it.
No, he doesn't. He drives like he's been in it for 10 years. He's a really good driver. I ran with him this past weekend. It was a really good time. But he's definitely some stiff competition.
You also ran with him a few weeks ago in Edmonton.
Yeah.
How was it like to be back in Canada? And is there anything that kid can't do with a monster truck?
I don't know yet. I mean, like, he's pushing that truck as hard as it can go. I mean, I really don't know. I don't think that there is any limitations that he has. I think it's just in his blood and his DNA from his family doing it, and you know who his father is. Canada was the first time I actually got to run with him and actually see how he performed and how he raced. And I mean, like, it blew me away. It was so awesome. As far as Canada,
He
though,
made the YouTube highlights that weekend because he did a wheelie with one wheel, and
yeah,
everyone's trying to figure out how in the world he did it.
it's gravedigger thing, man. I mean, those trucks, they dance in different ways, man. It's something about them. I got to test drive one when I was in Paxton, and I loved that chassis as far as the weight and everything it felt. I could make it do anything. I mean, gravedigger trucks are so cool. And yeah, no, I mean, that kid, he can put it in, do whatever that he wants it to do. And no, he's a really good dude. I really like Weston, man.
Do all the trucks drive different, or do they drive about the same?
I will tell you.
That's not what I have written down.
Oh man, every single, not necessarily just Monster Jam trucks, but every single monster truck as itself drives completely different. And so say, I mean, I couldn't tell you how many different chassis I've been in, and like even just going through Monster Jam University, I was probably in 5 or 6 different chassis. Every single one of them was built the exact same with the exact same parts. Every single one of them drove completely different. And it was just slightly off. It wasn't anything crazy, but one would do nose wheelies really, really well. Another one would do actual wheelies really well. One was awesome at racing. I mean, like, it's just, but it was the same exact truck. And so, yeah, every single Monster Jam truck and monster truck is completely different when you hop in them. So that's why it's a hard learning curve as far as, say I get in a new chassis for the weekend, I got to learn that truck instantly. I'm going to have to back up here for this little one. And, there we go. But no, every single one of them, man, it's hard to learn that fast. Cause I mean, you're in an event. I mean, like, they're like, hey, it's racing, and you pin it, and you got to learn right then and there how it's going to react and how it's going to feel and how the shocks work on that specific truck. But yeah.
And the events aren't like what they used to. Like the first time I saw you, where you have a break. It's now you get in and you go.
Yeah.
And you do not stop.
There's no stopping. I mean, like, we are running every single week.
I lost you for a second.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. Devin was calling me. But Devin Winfield was calling me. I apologize. But no, I mean, like, we just go. I mean, we run hard. We run so hard, man. It's awesome because there's no breaks, you know, as far as like when I had triple threat and stuff like that, I'd go a couple months without driving. Now it's like every single weekend we're somewhere, doing something somewhere, different city, different country, every single weekend. And it's so much fun, man. It's so cool. But yeah, it's just go, man.
I'm going to take a guess at the trucks you've driven. I want you to see how right I am. Or if these are the ones that at least I know of.
Okay.
Zombie.
Yeah.
Rockwell Red.
Yes.
Ice Cream Man.
Uh-huh.
And Earthshaker. Those are the 4 that I know of.
Okay.
And Monster Mutt.
Monster Mutt. All right. So
which ones am I missing?
So we got Zombie. I drove Soldier Fortune Ice. I filled in for Tony.
I didn't know that.
One event. Yeah, it was one event filled in for him. So it was Zombie, Soldier Fortune Ice, Ice Cream Man, Rockwell Red, Kamikaze, Earthshaker, and then Monster Mutt. So I guess I'm trying to think what else I drove. I think that's it. So it's 7.
Wow.
I thought it was 8. I got told it was 8 by someone, and I can't remember if I'm missing a truck or not.
maybe 8's coming up. Maybe that's why.
Maybe so, man. I mean, never know. Might be in Velociraptor next weekend. Who knows?
You do drive for a team of lots of trucks, so.
Yeah. You could rack them up pretty quick. I mean, just filling in. I think Tim put down a couple of them on his belt this year just randomly. It was like, hey, this weekend, I got to go hop in this truck, and he just flew out and got a new truck underneath his belt. So.
All right, so one of the last questions, I got 2 more.
Okay.
So the first one is there any difference between Monster Jam and the other tours? Because since we last talked, you got to do some independent touring.
That is true. And I will tell you this, independent touring and Monster Jam is so different in so many ways. And there is a lot of different, I love them both in their own aspect. I love them both in their own ways because nothing can beat Monster Jam. I mean, like, Monster Jam is Monster Jam. It's as big and as bad as you can get. The biggest, baddest trucks, biggest, baddest drivers in the entire world. When you come out there...
It seems to get bigger every year.
Yeah, and I mean, it's always growing. Monster Jam has grown so much in the past years, and I love it. I mean, especially all the drivers, too. I mean, you got to think about the tricks that they do now compared to 10 years ago or even 5 years ago. I mean, everyone's coming up with new adaptive tricks of even, like, coming up, hitting the rear steer, and then you, like, pop up on the pod, while going straight and walking. Like, it's just crazy stuff you'd never think about, but all these drivers are collectively bringing this into the world and the industry. So,
I'm the Anderson boys.
Yeah, mostly the Anderson boys. Those guys are crazy. I love them all, man. But we got... So with that, when you go to an independent show, they are so different, and I had to relearn how to drive running independent shows because I was driving like I was in Jam. But all the ramps aren't perfectly set, I mean, like, they do their best to make the best possible track that they can. But they got cars, they got buses, they got big old tabletops, they got just kicker jumps.
Well, they got the fun stuff.
Yeah, they got all, like, this crazy stuff. They got, like, campers out there, and you just look at it, and I'm like, well, I've never jumped a bus before. And so I just, had to learn right then, like, okay, so I got to go up to it like this, I got to hit it like this, not land here. And so with, like, independent shows, I had to just completely throw out what I knew and bring in how it was there. And now I can do slap wheelies there and, all kinds of fun stuff. So, like, there's a lot of different stuff I can do at an independent show compared to where I'm at in Monster Jam at the moment, which is arenas, because it's an arena, so it's limited on the different kind of variations that you can do. You're limited on, space, but so you can't really, like, drop it down and then walk a flat wheelie 100 yards. You just can't physically do that. And I love them both in their own way, to be completely honest. But yeah, I mean, like, it's been so much fun just going out and just running hard for all of these promoters and all these different people and different speedways. I mean, like, it's so much fun, man.
So the final question I have, I think at some point I was going to go to this.
Okay.
Can you talk about how you got back behind the wheel after the pandemic? You knew I was going to go there at some point.
I knew you were going to go there. I've been waiting to do this interview for 2 years now, man. Because
Three years, I believe.
When the pandemic hit, everything changed. Like, they swapped stuff around in the monster truck industry, and one of the things they swapped around is I wasn't in it at that moment. So I was out working wherever I was, could work, man. I mean, like, everything was just kind of a little bit weird and different at that moment. But I always wanted to go back racing, man. I always, this is what I love. This is my life and what I do. And so I was just waiting and then talked to you. And we were just talking.
Thanks to a Facebook post.
Yeah, a Facebook.
Following, because I follow all the monster truck teams of different tours, and one of them had a post about drivers wanted, and I went, I know somebody who might want this, and sent it to you and went, I don't know if it will go anywhere. And Looks like it has.
And so you sent me that, and you're like, you know, do you still
I
want to
can't
drive
remember
monster
what that
truck?
was for now. What
Yeah.
team it was, I can't even remember.
It was for Team Triple B Motorsports.
Glad you remember.
Yep. And it was crazy because you sent me that, and I was like, yeah, I mean, like I've never did independent stuff before, you know, but if they want a driver and need a driver, like I'll hit them up and see. And so I hit them up that night, and the owner of it hits me up. His name was James, and he's like, yeah, you know, like, have you drove a monster truck before? And I'm like, yeah, I've drove a monster truck before, you know. And so I sent him videos of Zombie.
That was the first question.
Yeah, that was the first question. Like, have you ever drove a monster truck? I'm like, definitely drove a monster truck, man, you know. And
If you send him a highlight of you and Zombie, that would have said, here's your answer.
yeah, it was that. I did. I sent him a highlight reel of Zombie, and I was like, yeah, like, this is what I did. Like, this is who I am, dude. And he's like, awesome, you know. And so we went through the details of it, and within I think it was like 2 weeks, he's like, hey, we got an event in Georgia. Sorry if I lagged out a second. And so I was like, yeah, let me talk to my work. So I literally went to my job and was like, hey guys, I'm quitting, man. And they're like, what do you mean you're quitting? I'm like, I race monster trucks, so like I'm going back to my job. And they were like, are you serious? I'm like,
They've called me back.
yeah, like they didn't even know I drove trucks. And within 2 weeks, man, I was back in a seat because of you. Like, and you know, it's been history since. I mean, joined Team Auto Monster now and living in Utah and loving it, man. Back in Monster Jam, sick.
So, in other words, this channel, the first interview, you were out of work. Not long after that, and was probably a few months after that, was I sent you the thing and you were back. So if not for this channel, you would not be driving the truck again.
I'm serious. Yeah, I would still be working wherever I would be working. I mean, like, because I just didn't know how to get back in it. Like, I mean, like, I didn't keep up with it enough, you know. That part
I
of
had
it, you
nothing
know.
else to do. There was a pandemic.
Dude, like, it's so sick. Yeah, like, you and your channel got me back in a seat. Like, you giving me that information, man, it helped me so much. I gotta say thank you, man, because, like, you brought it back, man. I mean, I know there's a lot of people in this world you made happy, too, from it. Because, like, a lot of people loves seeing me drive and loves knowing, you know, what I'm doing right now. And
A lot of them
my
would be
family.
right here.
Yeah, dude, I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
I just thought of one more question.
What you got for me?
So, podcasts are a thing now, apparently, because I listened to the one for Monster Jam.
Yeah.
I don't know why they haven't had you as a guest yet. You'd be a good guest. But if you could have a podcast, a monster truck podcast,
Yes.
which current or former driver would you want as a co-host? Other than me.
Is it like a far out one? Like, or because
No,
I
like if it
know.
was to talk monster trucks. If you had a monster truck podcast, which current or former driver would you want as a co-host?
I mean, of course I'd say Tom Ince. Like, I mean, he's the guy that taught me how to drive. He's one of the arguably best dudes that's ever drove a Monster Jam truck. And so, like, I would love to have him as a guest. I mean, the stories that man has, the knowledge that man has you can't get that from anywhere. But I mean, like, he also lives in Illinois and I live in Utah. So I mean, it'd be really hard to kind of like get that going. But I'd say probably Tom.
I'm in Ontario right now, and you're in Utah, and we seem to be, with neither one of us good with technology, have managed to do this.
That is true, man. That's very true. Shoot.
How